All right, guys, I'm gonna tell you, them old dirty Democrats, they back at it again. Okay, they back at it again because after agreeing in the Senate not to raise the minimum wage during the pandemic, and what looked like the minimum wage was going to be killed or at the very least pushed down the road, the House Democrats have revived this issue, right? And they have decided to include the $15 federal minimum wage in the new bill, right? The coronavirus relief package, the $1.9 trillion bill that Joe Biden wants. They're going to include the minimum wage increase in that bill and send it to the Senate. Okay? Again, all signs pointed to a defeated $15 an hour minimum wage. However, the progressives, right, continue to pressure Joe Biden and pressure those in Congress to get it done, right, to put it in there. You even had Ilhan Omar talking about how late they were in the night trying to negotiate this thing in. So the Democrats basically are going back on their promise to a certain extent. They really want to raise the minimum wage. So Pelosi says that the $15 federal minimum wage will be in the bill the House sends to the Senate. And here's what you need to know. According to CNBC, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Thursday said that a $15 minimum federal minimum wage will be included in the coronavirus aid package the House is preparing to send to the Senate. Quote, "We're very proud of that," she told reporters during a weekly press briefing. Quote, "As I've said, 27 million people will get a raise, 70% of them women," right? It's funny how they gotta make the statistics woke. Okay, the statistics gotta be woke. The facts have to be woke for them to win their arguments, right? I wonder how much of them people will also lose their jobs due to automation, or how many small businesses may go out of business because they can't afford it, particularly in states that have a lower cost of living. Confirmation that the $15 an hour minimum wage will be included in the latest version of the $1.9 trillion bill comes just days after the Senate voted on a non-binding agreement to ban raising the minimum wage during the pandemic. Still, House Democrats have pushed to keep the wage hike in its version of President Joe Biden's America Rescue Plan, arguing that boosting pay for millions of workers is important to the U.S. economic recovery. Democrats are preparing to pass the plan through a sped-up process called budget reconciliation that doesn't require any Republican support. So what happened next? Pelosi has said the House wants to pass the aid package in the next 2 weeks, which would send it to the Senate where it faces its final test. To be eligible for budget reconciliation in the Senate, legislation must have a direct impact on the federal budget. While a few studies have shown that raising the minimum wage would do that, it's unclear that the Senate parliamentarian, lawyer Elizabeth McDonough, will approve the Democrats' bill. The parliamentarian is the Senate's advisor on the interpretation of its rules and procedures, according to Senate.gov. Democrats are doing what they can to make the case that the wage hike should be included in reconciliation. We're trying to work as well as we can with the parliamentarian to get the minimum wage to happen. The Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer, a Democrat from New York, in the Tuesday briefing. On Sunday, Bernie Sanders, the independent senator from Vermont, said in an interview with Jake Tapper on CNN that a room full of lawyers are working on making the case. If the parliamentarian says the $15 minimum wage boost isn't eligible to be included in the reconciliation, Vice President Kamala Harris could overrule her advice. Wow. Wow. That is crazy how much power the Democrats actually do have in the Senate now, right? Considering that Kamala Harris could just overrule that, right? So, I mean, does it really even matter at this point, right? They got a team of lawyers working on this, knowing that Kamala, regardless of what they say, is basically going to just overrule it. Then the legislation could be passed with the support of 50 Democrats and Harris casting the tie-breaking vote. Quote, "Before we get to what the vice president is going to do, I've got to get through the parliamentarian, and then I've got to get 50 votes in support of raising that minimum wage to $15 an hour," Sanders said Sunday. "I'm working as hard as I can to make that happen. When will workers see bigger paychecks?" To be clear, it's unclear if Democrats will be able to include the higher minimum wage in reconciliation and pass it with unanimous support. Currently, Senator Joe Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia, opposes the hike to $15 an hour, but has said he supports a lesser amount. Still, Democrats are working to pass the coronavirus aid package by early March, meaning that if a $15 hour minimum wage were included in the final bill, workers could possibly see a raise later this year. The bill wouldn't increase pay to $15 an hour from where it currently sits at $7.25 overnight. However, the first jump, according to the latest version of the Raise the Wage Act, would raise the federal minimum wage to $9.50 an hour, and then the so-called tip wage to $4.95 an hour in 2021. All right, guys. So it looks like the Democrats are going to be pushing forward with this $15 an hour minimum wage. And quite honestly, guys, I really don't see what is stopping them, especially the fact that Kamala can just override whatever the Senate does. And the only thing it comes down to at this point is Blue Dog Democrat Joe Manchin, or so-called Blue Dog Democrat Joe Manchin from West Virginia. Now, will Joe Manchin give in, right? I think he is. I definitely think he is, because the thing is that he's already said, well, I would support a minimum wage increase to $11 an hour, right? He's already kind of giving ground on it. And they've threatened to just straight up primary him, right? They basically said, listen, we're going to make you lose your seat. Okay? So, I mean, quite honestly, this man is single-handedly probably the most powerful person in the Senate right now in regards to this bill. But his job is also in the most jeopardy as well. Okay? Because the Democrats have come at him directly in regards to his vote, right? They basically said, listen, you have to vote on this, which is, you know, crazy to think about, considering how, you know, West Virginia could be a state, right? His state that he's there to represent. It could be a state that may be hurt by the $15 hour minimum wage. Who knows, right? What is his reasoning for not wanting to raise it to $15 an hour? Okay. So, you know, moving forward, guys, I mean, I'm going to keep it quite honest with you. I mean, I expect the Democrats just to roll through with this. Okay, I expect the minimum wage to be raised $15 an hour. I expect it to pass. I don't see what roadblocks in the way. Now, unless the Senate parliamentarian decides that they can't do it, right, or that it can't be a part of the package, and then they decide, you know what, we're not going to have Kamala overrule it for, you know, X, Y, and Z reasons. That's the only way I see it being stopped. I think they're going to roll over Joe Manchin. I think he's going to fold, right? He doesn't want to be that guy that basically stops this stimulus package from getting passed, right? Because he'll be public enemy number one in the Democratic Party. No doubt in my mind. So also on top of that, guys, I mean, this is just another example of the Democrats just rolling over the Republicans here, right? I mean, they basically took no suggestions from the Republicans in terms of what Republicans wanted to see in the package, because Republicans wanted to lower the income threshold in which the stimulus check started phasing out. Okay, I mean, they were considering that for a minute, but then lo and behold, all of a sudden, that went out the window. Romney even tried to present a plan that I think made a lot of sense that would replace inefficient programs like the child tax credit and the TANF program, which is the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. It would just replace those with just a straight direct cash payment for those who have kids. And I actually think that that's a pretty good idea. That's one of the examples and ideas I think Republicans should be pushing that, you know, is going to replace inefficient tax credits and programs that really just cost money to administrate when, you know, if you're just trying to help kids, cash is the most efficient way to do it. So, you know, I actually like that from Romney. It doesn't look like that's going to be included. Again, even the good stuff, right? Even the stuff that Democrats should agree with from the Republicans, they're just like, nah, right? We just going to move forward what we want to do. And Republicans can't stop them at this point. So, you know, so much for bipartisanship, right? Because it seemed like the Democrats, or at least Joe Biden, was concerned about wanting to appear bipartisan, but it seems that the House and the Senate is not on the same page with Biden when it comes to that. So who knows? Maybe Kamala may decide not to override the Senate parliamentarian if they find that the $15 an hour minimum wage can't go in the budget reconciliation process. I doubt it, but who knows, right? So Looks like a $15 an hour minimum wage is most likely probably going to be coming unless there's some act of God, which I hope there is, that prevents this from happening. Otherwise, Democrats can, at this point, really do what they want. And it just goes to show how much of a distraction this impeachment is, right? While the Senate is going through this impeachment process, the House has snuck back in the $15 an hour minimum wage and put that in the conversation. And again, it appeared to be dead. But again, the Democrats are sneaky, right? They're sneaky. They understand how to play the game. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.